This might be one of the craziest weeks in crypto history, with FTX set to be acquired by Binance after a liquidity crunch saw FTX unable to process customer withdrawals. Did CZ just pull off one of the smartest business plays of all time? The situation has been brewing for some time now, so let's dig into it in a special episode of This Week in Crypto, CZ versus SBF. First off, let's go back to 2019. In September of 2019, CZ accused a smaller futures exchange of trying to attack Binance's futures platform and causing liquidations. It was suggested that this was FTX, at the time an up-and-coming crypto derivatives exchange. Luckily, no users were liquidated due to the index price liquidation mechanism used by Binance, but it was not a good look for FTX and SBF. And in December 2019, Binance announced a strategic investment in FTX. The investment saw Binance acquire a large amount of FTX token, which is FTT, to help promote growth in the FTX ecosystem and build product offerings in the Binance ecosystem. In the years since, Binance has continued to grow their market share and is now the largest exchange globally. FTX has also grown massively, and even though it launched several years after Binance, can be considered a top 3 exchange by trading volume. With the growth of FTX, SBF has started to expand his empire with Solana as his ecosystem of choice and Alameda Research as his market-making and venture capital arm. SBF has become quite well known in the US, with FTX sponsoring stadiums and sports teams and SBF becoming a go-to personality for crypto market commentary on the news. Meanwhile, CZ and Binance struggled in the US, with regulators scrutinizing the Binance exchange that operates, in most cases, in the gray areas of the law. SBF is making moves to tighten his grip on the closely regulated and highly lucrative US market. SBF recently revealed that he has spent more than $30 million in donations to both the Republican and the Democratic parties and engaged in extensive lobbying efforts in an attempt to gain more support from the Congress and therefore reduce the impact of regulatory actions. But not everyone was happy with FTX's political movement, and this is where the issues start. And things kicked off last week when CoinDesk released an article about the finances of Alameda Research, a market-making and investment firm founded by SBF and with close ties to FTX. According to the private financial documents reviewed by CoinDesk, a large percentage of the assets held by Alameda Research are tokens with close relation to FTX and the Solana ecosystem. Alameda has assets of $14.6 billion with liabilities of $8 billion. Of those $14.6 billion in assets, almost $6 billion are FTT tokens. Other assets include $2 billion in equity securities, $1.1 billion in SOL, and undisclosed amounts of SRM, MAPS, Oxy, and FIDA. Alarmingly, Alameda stated that they only have $130 million in US dollars. There are several concerns stemming from these numbers, and articles started to release about the potential insolvency of the firm. These rumors began to snowball. There were a few potential issues with Alameda Research. Firstly, the majority of the assets held by Alameda Research are FTT tokens made from thin air by the FTX exchange. This highlights concerns around the connection between FTX and Alameda, a potential conflict of interest. According to Larry Tabb of Bloomberg Intelligence, this is an issue as exchanges like FTX and market makers like Alameda with close ties and financial interests are not conducive to being a fair marketplace. Alameda is an investor in a number of crypto projects in the Solana ecosystem, which were often instantly listed on the FTX exchange. From the outside, it would appear that FTX was serving as an avenue for Alameda to pump tokens and lock in profits on early investments using derivatives available on FTX. Secondly, Alameda has used these FTT tokens made from thin air as collateral for loans. If the FTT token price was to dip low enough, Alameda would need to repay these loans. Thirdly, if Alameda was to have cash flow problems, they would need to start to sell their tokens, but tokens like FTT, SOL, and Solana ecosystem tokens like SRM and MAPS are highly illiquid, and Alameda holding a huge amount of the supply, the price would start to dump. Essentially, most of their assets are in illiquid altcoins. Their holdings of FTT at around $6 billion is more than the current market cap of FTT at $3 billion. Seeing an opportunity to inflict some pain on FTX and SBF for his recent government lobbying, CZ made his move. In a series of tweets on Sunday evening, CZ announced that Binance will liquidate all its remaining FTT tokens. As part of Binance's exit from FTX equity last year, Binance received roughly 2.1 billion US dollars equivalent in cash, USD and FTT. Due to recent revelations that have came to light, we have decided to liquidate any remaining FTT on our books. We will try to do so in a way that minimizes market impact. Liquidating our FTT is just post-exit risk management, learning from Luna. We gave support before, but we won't pretend to make love after divorce. We are not against anyone, but we won't support people who lobby against other industry players behind their backs. Oof, spicy. It appears that SBF is using its political power in the US to squeeze out competitors like Binance, and this was CZ's revenge. In a since-deleted tweet, SBF mockingly suggests that CZ may not be allowed to enter the US capital of Washington, D.C. And concerns began to mount around FTX and their potential exposure to the FTT token. SBF was quick to respond to growing rumors, stating that FTX is fine, assets are fine, and that they have enough assets to cover all client holdings. This tweet has since been deleted. While in a reply to the rumors about potential insolvency of Alameda, Caroline Ellison, CEO of Alameda Research, had the following response. A few notes on the balance sheet info that has been circulating recently. That specific balance sheet is for a subset of our corporate entities. We have over $10 billion of assets that aren't reflected there. The balance sheet breaks out a few of our biggest long positions. We obviously have hedges that aren't listed. Given the tightening in the crypto credit space this year, we've returned most of our loans by now. In response to CZ's statement that Binance will be selling their FTT tokens, Caroline offered to buy the tokens at a price of $22. This is an obvious reference to SBF's infamous "sell me all the Sol you have at $3 and fuck off" tweet, which kicked off the beginning of Solana's legendary bull run. At the time, FTT was trading at $23. CZ had already started moving FTT tokens to Binance, presumably to sell. On-chain analytics showed over $500 million in FTT moving to Binance on November 5th. CZ confirmed that this was part of it. On Tuesday morning, Sol started to fall whilst FTT was quite level at $22. Eventually, the FTT price broke below $22, falling to as low as $15 in a matter of minutes. And once FTT started to fall, the rest of the market did as well. Bitcoin dropped from $20,500 to $19,500, with Solana dropping as low as $27. With uncertainty around Alameda, users of FTX started to withdraw their funds, fearing a Celsius-style shutdown of the exchange. FTX saw net outflows of over $600 million over a 24-hour period from the Ethereum wallets. Withdrawals from the other blockchains are not as clear, but likely large as well. While FTX hot wallets used to process customers' withdrawals were constantly drained as users rushed to get their funds off the platform, FTX began to move assets around, withdrawing massive amounts of crypto from other exchanges to FTX to settle those withdrawal requests. Rumors began to circulate that withdrawals were paused, with the block confirming that no withdrawals from FTX had been processed for 3 hours. Not long after the pause of withdrawals, in an announcement on Tuesday, SBF announced that FTX had come to an agreement on a strategic transaction with Binance that would see FTX.com be acquired by Binance, pending due diligence. SBF noted that FTX.US, the US-based exchange, was not impacted by this deal. CZ made his own announcement, stating, "This afternoon, FTX asked for our help. There's a significant liquidity crunch. To protect users, we signed a non-binding LOI intending to fully acquire FTX.com and help cover the liquidity crunch. We will be conducting a full DD in the coming days. Binance has the discretion to pull out from the deal at any time." So what happened here? It's hard to say, but maybe CZ just outplayed SBF. By creating FUD around the FTT token and causing a liquidity crunch on FTX, CZ was able to throw a lifeline to SBF and acquire one of their biggest competitors at cents on the dollar. If so, it's a very impressive play from CZ. And other questions continue to be asked about FTX and Alameda. Why were they in a liquidity crunch? What were they doing with their users' assets? Was Alameda trading with funds from FTX users? And most importantly, will the Binance buyout actually happen? Unfortunately, no. In the past few hours, CZ has confirmed that Binance will not complete the acquisition of FTX. CZ, through Binance tweet, stated, "As a result of corporate due diligence as well as the latest news reports regarding mishandled customer funds and alleged US agency investigations, we have decided that we will not pursue the potential acquisition of FTX.com." As always, this highlights the importance of transparency from exchanges and other companies in the crypto space. That was a long one. If you enjoyed this episode of This Week in Crypto, make sure to subscribe to catch our future videos. I'm sure we'll have more to discuss on this situation as it unfolds in next week's episode. I'm Leo, your host at Crypto Discover, saying thank you, and we'll see you in the next video.